Oh, let's talk about Unhinged, a 2020 film starring Russell Crowe and directed by Derek Bort. The film follows Rachel, a single mom who is in the process of going through a divorce. She is attempting to bring her son to school, and she's rushing around on the highway trying to get there before he is late. And she comes up to a stoplight, and the light turns green, and the truck in front of her doesn't go. Being impatient, she gets pissed off and starts beeping her horn, and then going around him. Unfortunately, the man in front of her did not really appreciate that, and that was Russell Crowe. Russell Crowe pulls up alongside of her at the next light or stop sign, wherever they were, and they begin to talk, and I think they really nailed the realism with its characters in this one instance. They did a really good job with Rachel's character because she is a self-entitled young millennial who just believes that the world revolves around them and nothing is going to hurt them, and whatever she does is right, and whatever problems come up, she'll blame on somebody else. And when Russell Crowe asks for an apology, she doesn't believe that he deserves one, and that sets the movie in motion. So I think they did a good job on her character. I think that's really realistic, and that is one of the biggest issues with some people on the road who just drive as if they're the only ones on the road. And they really nailed that. And the next 10 to 15 minutes were what I expected in this movie. Going in, I was like, this is going to be a road rage thriller about this guy stalking this girl who pissed him off on the road. And those 15 minutes really nailed that. He's following her, cutting her off. She's freaked out, trying to get away from him, and he will not leave her alone. Unfortunately, that's where the road rage aspect kind of goes in the background, because Russell Crowe's character goes from this like drunk, pissed off middle-aged man who is suffering from road rage and is trying to really get back at this girl. She just really rubbed him the wrong way, and he did not like that. But then he becomes this almost Jigsaw-esque character, and he's like following her around and steals her phone and starts learning everything about her and starts like putting a tracking device in the car and is following her and then is terrorizing her in different ways and all these elaborate schemes and terrorizing her loved ones and trying to teach her this lesson. And yeah, that's not what I was expecting from this movie. A lot of things just didn't add up. Like, when I think about road rage, it's kind of like somebody gets pissed off on the road, they like flick you off or drive past you really fast or like drive up real close to you, trying to piss you off to get back at you, or maybe even get to the point where they try to run you off the road or actually try to get you out of your car so they could fight you. That's really not what this movie went with. Like, the opening credit to this movie had me really excited because of how it portrayed how dangerous road rage can be and how dangerous the road could be. And, like, I really wanted that to carry on in the movie, and it really didn't. Like, when you're on the road, your, like, first thought when you're driving around is this movie. Like, that's what I wanted this movie to be like. I wanted to be scared while on the road, to the point where, like, if somebody, like, cuts me off, I'm not going to try to get back at them because you have no idea the reason why they did that or what they're capable of. Yeah, the movie didn't do that. The movie, right off the bat, in the opening sequence, kind of shows us what Russell Crowe is capable of, and it really doesn't explain what's going on. It's kind of just there like, oh yeah, he does this, which I think was really ineffective. There's instances in this movie where Russell Crowe like draws this connection between Rachel and his ex-wife, and like being an irrational person, that makes sense. Like, that's believable, like, 100%. But, like, those, like, him tracking her and becoming all of this, like, it didn't work for me. It didn't flow. It's not what I wanted this movie to be. It really feels like it's almost like two separate films. The first one being a road rage based film, and like they got to a certain point where they were like, where are we supposed to go with this? So then they came up, like they took this other idea where he starts going after her loved ones, and like the movie, like every time they got out of their vehicle, it really just took me out of everything. And him going after her loved ones, her friends and family weren't really developed at all before they start like being terrorized. Like, you don't really care for them. You don't even like the main character. Why would you care for her loved ones or feel like fear from, oh my goodness, they might die? Like, it fell flat for me personally. And the acting all around, even Russell Crowe himself, I didn't think was that believable. I don't think they did a good job on their delivery of the lines. I don't think the acting in this movie is anything to write home about, which was kind of disappointing. The effects, on the other hand, were actually pretty impressive. There's a lot of car accidents that happen, and they actually look really realistic. They're like, everything that happens was like really believable, was pretty intense. That was most of the intensity for me, and the thrilling of this movie were the accidents that were going on in the background and caused by their Rachel or Russell Crowe. So I think they did a pretty good job on that. Pretty scary stuff. Like, this movie really should have focused on, like, they should have tried to make you fear going on the road, because yeah, everybody has to take the road and you shouldn't be scared of every minute of it, but that is a very dangerous place and really should be taken extremely serious, because one mistake by you could harm you, the other people in the car, or other people around you, and change people's lives. And this movie had a lot of potential to be really original and really like change somebody's life after watching it. But not even the characters themselves in the movie really change after this. Like, I honestly feel like once the credits rolled, like a couple weeks go by, they'd go back to the exact same way that they were acting at the beginning. I just think this was a missed opportunity, because how I feel this movie should have went was it should have been completely through Rachel's perspective. She should have been driving on this like long stretch of a highway or a road for like pretty much the entire movie. She cuts in front of Russell Crowe's character and just keeps going because she doesn't care. Maybe she runs him off the road. She just keeps driving, and then notices that this truck is following her, and that could slowly build the intensity, because you don't know who is in the truck, you don't know what they're capable of, and they slowly start showing it. And that could have built up to a really interesting climax. And being realistic, in the real world, you would be in one car and the other person would be in the other one. And it would have been more self-contained, and it would have drove home that fear of not knowing who is in the car next to you and what they're capable of. Yeah, I really think this movie was a missed opportunity for being something really great. I'm going to have to give it a 1 out of 5 stars. This movie really didn't do it for me. Those first 15 minutes, the effects, it just, yeah, so, yeah, Unhinged is playing in theaters.